Okay, moving on, we turn to the debate over President Obama's deal with the Republicans to extend the Bush-era tax cuts. He now faces a very tough battle with the aggrieved members on the left side of his own party. They're pretty angry. And with us to talk about the fallout, Jack Quinn, former White House counsel to President Bill Clinton, and Marc Lampkin, former general counsel to soon-to-be Speaker Boehner. Gentlemen, I have to tell you, just to start, I asked the question this morning of the president. Now that you've talked to the Republicans and negotiated with them, are you going to negotiate with the Democrats who are so upset? Do you think he will, Jack?
Yeah, I'm quite certain he will do an awful lot of talking to Democrats in the coming days. But you put your finger on a very, very important point. I think that the problem he has right now is not with what he did or the need to do it, but rather with how it was done. I think that a lot of those people feel that they weren't at the table and they were not listened to. They didn't have their point of view reflected. All that said, I really truly believe that the president got the best deal he was capable of getting right now, a better deal than he could get if he waited until next year, and most importantly, a deal that he had to make in order to move the country out of recession, not further into it. Because the worst thing we could have happen right now is a tax increase when we're still in a recession.
Marc Lampkin, on the Republican side, this represented an opportunity that hadn't come along in the previous 2 years, right?
That's true. It's the first time, despite being swept in this mantra of change, that the president's engaged in actual bipartisan negotiations. He's actually sat down with Republicans and Democrats and put something together. Now, I say that what he didn't cut a deal with Republicans. He cut a deal, and many Republicans think this, with the American people, because what he did is decide that I'm not going to, side with the progressive, hard left wing of my party. I'm going to go to where the American people showed that they want the country to be, from this last election. It was inevitable. I don't know if it was the best deal possible for him, because he's got some real serious internal Democrat politics right now, but it's probably the best deal for his presidency moving forward. He's got to show people, not just people here in Washington, but across the country, that bipartisanship means are willing to take a little bit from each side, not as he had laid it out previously, is that everyone's got to be where I am. And I think he needed to send a signal to voters across the country that he heard what happened in the election. And there's one thing I always say: no one ever loses an election because they say, "I want to cut your taxes." And I think he's now bought that mantra, and I think it provides an opportunity for a clean slate if the new Congress next year to start off on a common ground.
But there's a lot of resistance from the liberals in both the House and the Senate, people generally who represent populations that are harder hit than most of America by this recession. And don't their concerns need to be addressed, Jack?
Oh, sure they do. But I think in significant measure they were. And I think it's you see, the discussion has been so much about whether the tax cut would be extended for the wealthiest Americans. People have lost sight of the fact that he got some terrific stuff here. First of all, a stimulus for this economy. Secondly, an extension of unemployment benefits for precisely those constituents you refer to. You got tax credits for child care and education.
Right.
You got alternative minimum tax relief for 21 million middle-income American households. These are not small things.
Yeah, but they're still PO'd about, for example, the estate tax being at $5 million with a 35% tax rate.
Yes, but you've heard it a million times. We shouldn't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And what I really hope results from this is that it provides an opportunity in an almost perverse way for the president and the congressional leadership to pivot into an important discussion about two things. One, what are we going to do about these deficits? And two, can't we figure out a way to reform this tax system we have so that we lower rates for everybody? Everybody.
Well, the president says he wants to do that, but here's the question. What political motivation is there for the Republicans to talk to him at all or do much for him in the next 2 years? They want to beat him. I mean, the leader in the Senate says so. That's his top priority.
Well, I think the motivation becomes because Republicans very much understand that this is a tryout for them. That John Boehner said it on election night. He said it throughout the course of the campaign. Is that they needed to learn a lesson from the American people. So being able to govern a principled governing partnership with Obama is, I think, what they want to do. There's going to be places where they're going to try to work together. They are looking for bipartisan. They're not going to cut a deal to cut a deal, but I think they want to move things forward. I think when you talk about unleashing the power of the private sector, and if the president's willing to leave his liberal base, to not make the mistakes of cap and trade, of health care that's government controlled, of the notion that we're going to play class warfare, that if you're a teacher and a fireman in Staten Island, that you're rich, and they don't think they're rich. If you're going to be willing to focus on middle ground, truly bipartisan policies, I think there's a way to move forward.
Yeah, but the Stonewall thing worked for him for the first 2 years, didn't it?
I don't know if it was Stonewall. I think that's a perspective, a vantage point. I think if you believe in a set of principles, and if you say no, it's not stonewalling. If you say that I reject the notion that the government should put jobs at risk in this country because of cap and trade, that the government should take over health care and decide that the government should, Mitch McConnell referred to as the health spending plan, not the health care plan. $1 trillion plan in an economically difficult circumstance is not what Republicans both principally or historically have ever believed in. So, because if you stand a line against it, that's not stonewalling.
Jay?
Well, It will be interesting to see how some of these new Tea Party people vote on a tax plan that is going to add $1 trillion to the deficit and not be paid for. But again, I support this compromise. But I completely agree with Mark that President Obama, Senator McConnell, and presumptive Speaker Boehner understand that they will not, none of them will be well served with 2 years of gridlock. They understand that the American people, frankly, don't think well of either party, and they want to see these folks govern. They want to see them address the problems that face the country. And I think that what we've seen from both the president and the response of the congressional leaders is an appreciation of that and a willingness to move down that path.
All right. Marc Lampkin, Jack Quinn, thank you so much for joining us. Lots to talk about for a long time on this one.
Thanks,
Thank
Bill.
you.
Appreciate it.